What's up, YouTube? Chris here, Casual Yu-Gi-Oh. Coming at you with my Celtic Guardian Warrior Rank 4 deck for August of 2018. That's right, kids. I said it. All right. This deck is really fun. I just built it like a month ago. I tried to do a gear-free deck with equip cards, and it kind of just turned into this. And I really love it. It's obnoxious, and I do mean obnoxious when I say that for a reason. The deck is just fun, and whenever you can use Celtic Guardians in a deck, you have to. Why would you not? So without further ado, let's begin. Um, 3 Celtic Guardian. So the original Celtic Guardian from LOB. I had to get the LOB prints. He's essential because you also play 3 obnoxious Celtic Guardians. That's right, I said Guardians. I don't care that the card says obnoxious Celtic Guard. I have to say Celtic Guardian because that's what Yugi called it in the original show. So his effect is if a monster with 1900 or more attack were to attack him, he's not destroyed by battle. The reason you're playing these is because... Let me scoot these down. Celtic Guard of Noble Arms. So Celtic Guard of Noble Arms came out in the movie pack from 2016 for the Yu-Gi-Oh movie, Dark Side Dimensions. Yeah, so Celtic Guard Noble Arms basically says once per turn you can special summon a Celtic Guard card from your hand. If you have no cards in your hand, the only time you can attack with him is if you have no cards in your hand, so he's a 2100. But if you were to inflict battle damage with him, you get to draw cards equal to the amount of Celtic Guard monsters you control. So obviously if you just have him, you're going to at least draw 1 card. But the main reason I play these guys is because they're just like if you get him, like just rank 4 enablers, like just that's what this deck is trying to do, is just summon rank 4 warriors. I wanted to keep it just warriors because there's plenty of generic rank 4s that are really good and everyone goes into, and I kind of just wanted it to be warrior based and be a little bit more fun. So this is casual Yu-Gi-Oh for a reason. If you want to play meta, go somewhere else. So that's it for that stuff. And then I play triple Blue Mountain Butter Spy. So this card like was pricey like a couple weeks ago because like Goki's like exploded and everyone's like, I gotta get this card, and it was like $20, and then it finally calmed down. But this card says when you normal summon a warrior, you can just special summon this card, and then the only stipulation is that it can't be used as a synchro summon material. But if you have more than one in your hand, you can just special summon. They can chain off the normal summon together, so it's all good. But another important thing is he's dark because we're playing another important card. But yeah, this card's great, and this enables you to go into more than like one, like have more than one level 4 monster on there. So next we go triple Goblin Bird. Goblin Bird is a staple. When it's normal summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand, and then he goes to defense. Once again, a 1-card rank 4 XYZ, so that's really important. A card I found out about not too long ago and put in there, he was probably my last edition, is Doggy Diver. Doggy Diver says he can only be used for a material for a warrior XYZ summon, but if your opponent controls a monster and all the monsters you control are level 4, you can special summon him once per turn this way. So if you have multiple Doggy Divers in your hand, you can only just summon one using that. But yeah, so most of the time you'll just summon out all your stuff, and then the last card you do is just say, I'll summon Doggy Diver out, and then go do your thing. But he just helps the rank 4s. I have no idea why he's a warrior, but he is, so it works with the deck. So yeah, don't complain about that. And then triple Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd. This card I found out about not too long ago, but if your opponent controls a monster and you don't, just special summon him out. And then if he also has Piercing, and then if he inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can just add a heroic card to your deck to your hand. You could add himself, or you can add Heroic Challenger Extra Sword. So, push that up. So, Extra Sword says if he's used for the XYZ summon of a monster, I don't think it has to be a warrior. Yeah, just any monster. That monster that you summon out gains 1,000 attack. So, he's kind of cool because he can be your normal summon for the turn. Like, do all your special summons, normal summon him, and then whatever monster you bring out has an extra 1,000. So, that's pretty good. And like I said, he can be searched off the Halberd. So, that's it for that stuff. Triple Photon Thrasher. Photon Thrasher just says if you control a monster, special summon him out, and if you control other monsters, he can't attack, but usually you're just using him for XYZ summon fodder, and that's pretty much it for that. Triple Quacky Marrow Bergzak. This guy, he's really good. He's an old school card, obviously. If he were to destroy a monster by battle, he can attack once again in a row. So he's got 2,000, and his only stipulation is that at the end phase you have to reveal, like any Quackamario card, you have to reveal a monster the same type as him. So you have to reveal a warrior at your end phase to keep him alive, or else he destroys himself. But that's usually not a big deal because you can always XYZ someone with him, or if you do keep him out, which that does happen sometimes, you're always gonna have a warrior in your hand. So no big deal, but he's great, and I really love this card. Let's see. Triple Silent Swordsman. So one thing real quick, Silent Swordsman has a quick play spell card called like Silent Sword Slash or something like that. I don't play it. You could if you wanted to, but I don't do it. So Silent Swordsman, he's kind of complicated, but basically he can't be normal summoned or set. You have to trib a warrior to special summon him. It can be any warrior. And then every standby phase, he gains 500 attack. So the longer you keep him out on the field, the more powerful he grows. But once per turn during either player's turn, if your opponent activates a spell card, you can negate that spell card. It doesn't destroy, but you can negate. So that's really good. I mean, spell negation is great in pretty much every era of Yu-Gi-Oh, but especially now. But yeah, and then another effect, the last effect, is if he would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon, and he goes to the graveyard, you can special summon a Silent Swordsman monster from your hand or deck, and we play Silent Swordsman level 7, which level 7 says negate all spell effects on the field. So basically, like, he's the one that, like, if your opponent's like playing a bunch of stuff, you can just keep him on there and he'll negate everything. But he's 2,800 beat stick, and that artwork is really cool. I love the level monsters. I was always more of an arm dragon guy myself, but Silent Swordsman level 7, he's awesome looking. And one thing real quick, just to go back a little bit, this card is searchable off of a card called Diamond Core or something. There's a Quackamario normal spell card that can just search out any Quackamario card and add it from deck to hand. So if you wanted to thin the deck out or take out a few of the things in my deck that you didn't like, you could easily add 3 of that card in. So it just helps consistency. Just wanted to point that out. Some one-ofs. One Rose Warrior of Revenge. She's just a 4-star tuner. If she inflicts battle damage, you can burn them for an additional 300. I don't know when you would ever do that, but she's just a 4-star tuner that's a warrior, so like that gives you some synchro options. But like I said, I wanted the entire deck to be warrior, so there's only 2 decent level 8 synchro warriors that you could play. One Envoy. Obviously, you could play more Envoys if you want to, because the darks you're playing is Doggy Diver and the Blue Mountain Butterspy, and the lights is Photon Thrasher, and I know there's more. Photon Thrasher, and then you also have cards in the extra deck that are light. And the Silent Swordsman. Silent Swordsmans are light. So there's your light and darks. You kind of have a good balance of that, but Envoy's so busted that now that you can play it at 3, you could easily put another 2 of these in there if you wanted to, but I just play the 1 for right now. And then for the spells, I play Double Solidarity. Solidarity is always a card I've liked. It's just that in most decks, there's just better options for you. But in this deck, you just want like to be able to like beat your opponent over the head with a bunch of like normal summon monsters. And like you got Solidarity, you have like 4 warriors, and you have a warrior in your graveyard, which is not hard. They're all buffed. That's a lot of damage that they're gonna take. So
That's a lot of damage.
yeah. You still take the damage. Solidarity's great. Double Assault Armor. Assault Armor is like one of the greatest cards warriors have at their disposal, and I never understood why more players like when what deck was it? There's a lot of decks that just like they ran warriors, like they just wouldn't play Assault Armor. Like it makes no sense to me. So Assault Armor is great. Basically, what it does is if you equip to a warrior, you can only equip this card to a warrior if it's the only only monster you control. But that's fine because you can always pretty much XYZ summon in this deck and go into something big, and then you can just go Assault Armor, so that's not really ever a problem. But the monster you equip with this also gains 300, but basically you equip it to the only monster you control, send this to the graveyard, and that monster can attack twice. That's what you're doing with it, giving your warrior the ability to attack twice. So it's pretty awesome. And then lastly, one Reinforcing the Army, because it searches out the entire deck except for like the Envoy and Silent Swordsman. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. And then now for the extra deck. So for the rank 4s, one Cowboy, because it's Cowboy. Anytime you could like just game him for 800, like that's always great. It hasn't really come up so far with me. Most of the time when I win, I'm using by like doing something else. But obviously, if you can have that option, do it. Um, One Zubaba General. Zubaba General is actually really underrated. So what he can do is, uh, you can detach a material from him to attach a monster from your hand as an equip to him, and that monster, whatever that monster's attack from your hand was, whatever his attack was from your hand, goes to his attack, like adds on to it. So like, if I had Silent Swordsman level 7 in my hand, and I was like, dang, I don't want this card in my hand. What can I do with it? You just go Zubaba General and just like, okay, now he's at 4,800. Like, that's pretty good and pretty easy. So yeah, I just like having him as an option. One Starleash Paladynamo because you are playing, like I said, it takes 2 level 4 light monsters, but you are playing like Photon Thrasher and the Silent Swordsman, so that's not too hard. But he detaches 2 materials to target an effect monster, negate its effects, and I think that's it. Yeah.
I think it makes it the
Oh, an attack. Yeah, the attack goes to 0. Yeah, and then if he were to be destroyed, you can draw a card. So just an extra thing, but yeah, he's good. Heroic Champion Excalibur. Excalibur is like one of my favorite rank 4s. Basically, you detach 2 materials to him to double his attack to go to 4,000. So, I love that. Yeah, double its original attack. So, he's just a great card. There's a lot of cool things you could do with him to OTK. One number 98 Antitopian. He's actually really underrated. So you can make him and then kind of sit on him, and like if your opponent were to try to attack, you can just detach material to change their monster they're attacking with to defense. So sometimes if they're playing monsters that have like no defense, they're not really going to want to attack you with it. So he's kind of just your stall card.
He's also got something where like you can.
So his other effect is if this card's in the graveyard, you can target a Utopia monster on the field. It says during either player's turn. While he's in the graveyard, target a Utopia monster on the field, special summon this card in defense, and if you do, attach that monster to this card as material. So basically what you can do, the reason he's called Antitopian, is because if your opponent is playing like rank 4s or whatever, or you, but like if your opponent's playing rank 4s, and they like, okay, I go into Utopia, whatever, I forgot what the other one is, I have it in my extra deck, but Prime. And then they go into Utopia the Lightning. On the summon of Lightning, you can just go like, okay, Antitopian effect, and then be like, I'll take that, please. And you take it as material. So, yeah, that's pretty good, and that's the reason, that's another reason he's in there. Good point, Brennan. Photon, how do you pronounce this? Papillor, I don't know what you say it. Basically, what this can do is, like, it can target a defensive position monster, and if it's face down, it flips up, but it goes to attack position, and it loses 600 attack. This is obviously a good option because if your opponent's like wanting to play defensive, you can just be like, okay, no, you're gonna flip that up and take damage. So it's good for that regard. One of my favorite first turn things to do. It's a cool first turn option. Heroic Champion Gandiva. So Gandiva says if your opponent were to special summon a level 4 lower monster, you can just detach material to blow it up. I think it has to be during their turn. No, once per turn. Okay, so yeah, you can use it during either player's turn, but it's just good. Like if your opponent wants to play, if they're playing a deck that summons a bunch of little monsters over, you can just like have a way to just blow them up and like have some defense. Blade Armor Ninja, he's honestly probably your best offensive option most times for the fact that he can attack twice. And if you get that extra sword onto him, if you use that as material, he's a 3,200 that can attack twice. So he's really good, man. So I never understood why. Like, there's a lot of decks that could go like 2 level 4 warriors, but they would make the there's a rank 4 that just says like this card can attack twice. It's a ninja card.
I'm not familiar with it.
I think he's a ninja card, but he's got like 1,900 attack, and he says he can attack twice. I'm like, okay, but like if you're using 2 level 4 warriors, why would you never go into Blade Armor Ninja? It does the exact same thing, except he has more attack. The other guy is just a generic rank 4. This takes 2 level 4 warriors. I get that part, but like I don't know. There's a lot of cool options. So this guy I don't make a whole lot. Comics Hero King Arthur. So because I don't go into him a whole lot, I got to read him. If this card be destroyed by battle, you can detach material from him instead. When you do, it gains 500 attack, and if it does, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. So I guess if you're like afraid like your opponent can just kill your shit in battle, you can just keep him out there for a little while, and like he can boost himself and do some burn damage. So that's the reason to have him. Like I said, everything's a warrior in here, so like obviously if you wanted to run this deck like pro, because this deck actually is really good. I fucked up some people at my locals with it, so those people that are running those meta decks and they think like, oh dude, I got Gokis or whatever, this deck shits on Gokis, this deck shits on Trickstars, and I'll show you why. So your Utopia package, number 39 Utopia Prime, Utopia the Lightning, always a great option. I mean, like, you're making rank 4s like it's nothing. So, I mean, like, you can always... Lightning is one of your main monsters to go into. If your opponent's got some stuff that activates, in the battle phase, that ain't happening. So, Lightning is great for that. And then lastly for the XYZs, this is pretty much your win condition. Number 86 Heroic Champion Ronga Minad. I don't know how you say that, but I don't care. He's amazing. So basically, your first turn, like if you're like, hey, I'm going to go first, generally what I do, I summon out 4 XYZ monsters, or summon 4 warriors out, make him, and then be like, alright, go ahead. And he's got 4 materials, so he's unaffected by card effects. He gains 1500 attack and defense. He can't be destroyed by battle, and my opponent can't normal or special summon for that whole turn. Yes, okay, my turn. Like, that's basically all that happens. So then you OTK him next turn. So those Goki players and those Trickstars players and the Sky Strikers, they just couldn't do anything. So like, I just destroyed them. And the hand traps, what are you gonna do with your hand traps? Like, I'm not activating any monster effects. It's all inherent summons, so you can't do anything. So, yeah, just destroys them. And then lastly, 2 synchros, because the Rose Warrior Revenge. Play 1 Colossal Fighter. He gains 100 for every like warrior in your graveyard, and I believe if he's destroyed by battle, you special summon a warrior from either player's graveyard. That's cool, but I don't make him, really. Crimson Blader. Crimson Blader could obviously come in handy because if you can make him, and your opponent wants to summon level 5 or higher, just attack and destroy something, and then like there you go. They can't really like summon out next turn. So that is pretty much it for the deck profile. Like I said, this deck underrated, destroys the meta. The only way you really lose is like if your opponent like is just playing a bunch of like random stuff that I can't like side deck against. So like really like hand traps don't work. Bunch of back row really doesn't work because like if you got Solemn Strike, like I'm not like activating monster effects, so like you ain't got anything. So yeah, really underrated. So take Celtic Guardian rank 4 warriors to your next locals and see how it does. Anyway, that's it for the deck profile. So if you like it, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and have a nice day.